Jai Gurudev. So, how does the practice of Shakti Kriya resemble the fierce aspect of Kalki, burning deep seated karmas and energizing the practitioner? Jai Gurudev, yes, Shakti Kriya is one of the most advanced breath techniques gifted. Gurudev has gifted and taught only under close guidance. It's designed to purge deep rooted samskaras, subconscious patterns from past lives, or long forgotten traumas that often drive our compulsions and fears. Many practitioners describe it as an intense inner fire, stirring profound physical sensations, emotional releases, sometimes even visions. One participant shared that decades of grief from losing a parent unexpectedly surfaced and melted away during Shakti Kriya, leaving her freer than she ever imagined. This is Kalki in his fierce form, burning out impurities swiftly, not with a gentle touch, but with the blazing sword of transformative prana. Under daily Sudarshan Kriya, Shakti Kriya is like inviting Kalki to do deep surgery on the subtle body, removing stubborn adharma stored across lifetimes. Afterwards, there is often an expansive stillness, a rejuvenated energy. Thus, Shakti Kriya embodies Kalki's mission, destroying inner darkness, so one can live with radiant lightness, courage, and joy. Gurudev emphasizes that such intense processes prepare humanity for higher collective consciousness, echoing Kalki's promise of restoring Dharma on earth. In what way do community seva projects like cleaning rivers, rebuilding schools, or trauma relief become modern manifestations of Kalki riding through society? Yes, Jayagurudev, community seva projects channel Kalki's energy in the most tangible way. In Maharashtra, thousands of art of living volunteers have worked to desilt and revive dried rivers, directly rejuvenating ecosystems and livelihoods. In Bihar, after floods, teams rebuilt schools and homes. In Kashmir, we held trauma relief camps for orphans and widows scarred by conflict. Each of these is Kalki's sword cutting through social neglect, despair, and fragmentation. One might imagine Kalki only comes with celestial armies, but here he rides through ordinary hands, lifting sandbags, cooking for the hungry, teaching meditation to calm PTSD. I met a young man who said volunteering in these projects rescued him from alcohol and aimlessness. I found my dharma by helping strangers. That's Kalki resurrecting righteousness in hearts. Gurudev often says service should be our nature, not an occasional act. This constant compassion is how we collectively establish a new Satya Yuga. So these Seva projects are not charity alone, they are Kalki's mission actualized through us, dismantling adharma practically from polluted rivers to polluted minds, restoring harmony wherever we stop and step. So, how do Vedic rituals like Agni Karam or monthly Rudra Homas by families prevent the subtle accumulation of adharma, keeping the home's energy aligned with Kalki's dharma? Yes, Agnikaram, even when performed simply at home, creates a micro yagya where mantras sanctify the fire and offerings carry intentions upward. It clears subtle negativity that accumulates from arguments, stress, or contact with chaotic environments. Similarly, families that host monthly Rudra Homas invite intense vibrations of Shiva, who is intimately linked with Kalki, both representing fierce yet compassionate destruction of impurities. I have seen families who began regular homas after facing repeated obstacles, be it health issues, financial instability, discord, report incredible turnarounds. Their homes feel lighter, relationships mend almost effortlessly. This is the unseen work of Kalki's sword activated by fire rituals. Children growing up in such atmospheres naturally absorb sattva. They are less prone to addictions or depression in Kali Yuga, where adharma quietly infiltrates through gadgets, food, or conversations. These rituals act like daily or monthly armor. They ensure the environment within walls is aligned to dharma, not hidden tamas. So while grand prophecies await Kalki at times as entru Agni Karyam and Homas, families allow him to visit their living rooms right now, keeping adharma perpetually cleansed. So, could you illustrate how even reading stories or visual depictions of Kalki from Puranas or folk traditions inspires the inner warrior against personal adharma? Absolutely. Stories shape our inner landscape. In the Bhagavad Purana, Kalki is described descending with a blazing comet like sword, eyes glowing like molten gold, riding Devadatta, the white horse, Folk songs in Odisha depict him roaring across fields, uprooting injustice with thunderous laughter. Even regional shadow puppetry brings these scenes alive. When children hear these tales or when adults watch temple enactments, it plants seeds of courage and moral clarity. One parent told me his teenage son gave up an online gaming obsession after watching a local Kalki dance drama. It struck him how much time he wasted when Kalki stood for righteous action. That's the power of imagery. It awakens our inner dharma. Soldier Gurudev often quotes, "As is your company, so is your mind." Being in the company of these stories, even through books or temple art, is like keeping Kalki close, reminding us that every small choice between laziness and discipline, greed and generosity is a battlefield. Thus, these narratives aren't mere entertainment, they are catalysts summoning Kalki's spirit within each time we waver. How do Art of Living's prison programs, which bring Sudarshan Kriya and Satsang to inmates, reflect Kalki's mission of redeeming even society's most lost souls? Art of Living's prison programs are some of the most heart-touching expressions of Kalki in action. Volunteers conduct Sudarshan Kriya, yoga, and wisdom sessions inside jails, transforming lives society had written off. Hardened criminals, even murder convicts, often break down in tears after a few sessions, sharing stories of regret, childhood wounds, and a longing to live differently. One inmate who had attempted suicide said after learning Kriya, "It feels like some darkness inside me was killed. I can breathe again." This is precisely Kalki's work, cutting through the densest layers of Dharma, offering redemption, not mere punishment. Gurudev frequently reminds us that every soul is pure at its core. It's only covered by ignorance through breath, meditation, and unconditional acceptance. These programs wield Kalki's sword compassionately, slicing through lifelines and lifetimes of guilt and violence. Many released inmates go on to volunteer, helping steer youth away from crime. Thus, even in the most unlikely places, steel bars, barbed wire, scarred hearts, Kalki's mission of destroying inner darkness and restoring dharma flourishes quietly, rewriting destinies. So, how does the simple habit of daily gratitude, as taught by Gurudev, become a subtle yet powerful Kalki process against the adharma of complaints and negativity? Yes, gratitude is deceptively simple yet profoundly transformative. Gurudev often reminds us a complaining mind is a sign of ignorance. Complaints and chronic dissatisfaction are subtle forms of adharma, polluting our mind, breeding jealousy, entitlement, restlessness. Kalki's work is to slice through these low vibrations. Daily gratitude acts like his sword on a very gentle frequency. When people list even five things they are grateful for: health, family, sunshine, clean water, it shifts their mental chemistry, reducing stress hormones and enhancing optimism. I remember a young IT professional who struggled with cynicism and frequent outbursts. After adopting a nightly gratitude journal, he found his anger dissolved. He became a better father and husband. It's Kalki riding softly through awareness, cutting the weeds of negativity before they become jungles. Over weeks and months, the mind's entire landscape changes, lighter, more generous, and patient. Thus, a simple practice advocated by Gurudev becomes a daily Kalki intervention, disempowering the forces of complaint, fostering dharma through contentment, humility, and joy. How do festivals celebrated with true devotion like Janmashtami, Navratri, or Guru Purnima act as annual renewals of Kalki's spirit in our lives? Festivals are exquisitely designed by our sages or cosmic resets. During Navratri, for instance, intense collective chanting, homas, and fasting dissolve rajas and tamas. Each day has different aspects of the divine. Our worship, subtle energies in us are awakened. Guru Purnima reconnects us to lineage, humility, and wisdom, qualities that directly aligned with Kalki's mission of upholding dharma. One family in Hyderabad shared how participating fully in Navratri sadhana and Homas healed years of household discord. Even small towns holding public Garba or Ramlila performances unknowingly enact Kalki's work, celebration cutting inertia, collective joy dissolving latent hostility. Gurudev emphasizes that festivals are not merely cultural but profound spiritual tools. When observed with devotion, not mechanical rituals, they churn our consciousness, shake off accumulated negativity, re anchor us in values. Thus, each festival becomes a fresh opportunity for Kalki to ride through our homes and hearts, dismantling small grudges, self pity, greed, and ignorance, replacing them with light, laughter, and a collective movement toward higher purpose. So, how does the practice of chanting Vishnu Sahasranama specifically awaken Kalki's protective, purifying energy in practitioners and their surroundings? Vishnu Sahasranama is unique among chants because it encapsulates every quality of the divine needed to establish dharma, compassion, courage, wisdom, and steadfastness. Among its thousand names are direct invocations like Kalki and Dharmasetu, explicitly calling forth that future avataric force into our consciousness. When devotees chant Vishnu Sahasranama daily, its vibrations subtly cleanse environments of accumulated mental and emotional toxins. One elderly couple in Bengaluru shared that after adopting this chanting, decades of recurring nightmares and household strife simply ceased. Psychologically, the mind bathing in these names gradually adopts their qualities, becoming less fearless, less indulgent, and more anchored. Gurudev often says these chants are like spiritual vitamins fortifying us against unseen negativities. In effect, chanting Vishnu Sahasranama is like maintaining a constant perimeter of Kalki's energy around us. So, adharma, whether internal as laziness or external as harmful influences, struggles to take root. Thus, even in a modest living room, a daily recitation of these thousand divine names becomes a palace guarded by Kalki's luminous sword. So, how do short wisdom snippets or jokes by Gurudev sometimes act as sudden Kalki strikes, destroying layers of ego and rigid beliefs instantly? Yes, Gurudev's approach is often delightfully paradoxical. With just a playful laugh or a simple sentence, he pierces through years of conditioning. I once witnessed a man stubbornly justify his grudges. Gurudev chuckled and said, "You are like a dog guarding a bone made of your own stress." Everyone burst out laughing, and the man himself broke down. That is Kalki Swift, unexpected dismantling ego's fortress without argument or force. Even short daily videos by Gurudev do this. Someone might hear, "Relax, nothing in this world is worth losing your smile over," and it breaks a cycle of anxiety instantly. Gurudev's words carry prana, vibrating with the same truth that moves planets. They slice through rigid mental structures, self pity, superiority, and excessive seriousness. Now, how does the art of living's emphasis on universal human values like love, compassion, responsibility directly embody Kalki's mission to restore dharma on earth? Gurudev often says dharma is not rigid rules but the blossoming of human values. In Kali Yuga, adharma shows up not just as crime or corruption, but in small daily ways, dishonesty, lack of gratitude, insensitivity. By embedding universal values like compassion, service, friendliness, forgiveness, we actively reverse this trend. Kalki's mission is to restore righteousness, and in our times, that means awakening hearts to live these values. For example, during COVID, thousands of Art of Living volunteers risked their own safety to deliver food, oxygen, medicines, embodying dharma beyond personal interest. A woman from Pune shared how her teenage son, once self absorbed, transformed after volunteering with oxygen banks. He became so caring, it was like Kalki rode right through our home. Thus, cultivating universal human values is not mere morality. It's the very field where Kalki's horse scallops, cutting selfishness, greed, and fear, sowing seeds of harmony. This is why Gurudev tirelessly travels, reminding diverse communities across continents that kindness and responsibility are timeless dharma, regardless of race or religion. In this way, Art of Living's core emphasis values directly channel Kalki's divine task of restoring balance and humility. Jai Gurudev.